Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare and sometimes self-care. So if that's your vibe, please consider hitting subscribe anytime during the video. Today, I'm bringing you part 2 of my epic Korean sunscreen review. I've been trying out so many brand new, you've never seen me review these sunscreens. It was so epic, I had to make 2 separate videos just to fit them all in. So if you haven't seen part 1, you don't have to watch it in any order, but I would suggest checking that one out after this video. But today, I'm really excited to review for you some sunscreens from Scinic, Pyunkang, Thank You Farmer, Tocobo, and Jumiso are back with 2 new sunscreens as well. So let's jump right into the reviews, give it a big thumbs up, and let's get started. All right, let's try out the Scinic Enjoy Super Mild Sun Essence. This is SPF 50 plus PA plus 4. This is a fully chemical sunscreen using 6, read it, 6 new generation chemical filters. That's a lot. I'm expecting this to be very high protection. I have actually been using this sunscreen for the last couple of days, and I'm really excited to share this one with you because there's no fragrance, there's no essential oils, there's no denatured alcohol, there's no T-butyl alcohol if that's something that bugs you. So like it really checks a lot of boxes for me personally, and I think for a lot of you too. It is also a very affordable sunscreen, which I really appreciate because when you're applying generously, when you're applying often, especially in like, warmer, sunnier weather where you're spending a lot of time outside and so you're reapplying a lot, you can go through a sunscreen really fast. It can add up. It can get super expensive. So this one's like around $12 or less. Like it's really affordable, lots of good filters, good coverage, and I cannot wait to show you this texture. So they're calling this a sun essence, which I talked about before in the earlier part 1 video, where sun essence kind of has that like cream gel-like consistency, which we do see here. You see that? Do you see how it's a little bit thinner? And you can see how hydrating it is. Like you can just see it in that texture. It is like an essence because it does just kind of like go in and like hydrate and almost even like, I almost want to say it like even plumps up your skin a little bit, but it's got really great absorbency, a lot of hydration, just some minimal, like a whisper of moisture, but this is a lot more on the hydrating gel type of side than it is on like a moisturizing cream type of side. Do you see how quickly that just sunk right into my skin? We do have a little bit of dewiness here, but really great spread, and it actually has a really quick dry time on the skin too, which I super appreciate. Okay, so let's try this on and see what it looks like. I have been gravitating towards this sunscreen so much this week because I'm just loving this texture. It's been pretty warm this week. So it, we had this like nice mild weather and then it got hot again. And so I've been liking the lighter weight sunscreens a little bit more. And this totally fits into that category, especially because of that kind of essence-y gel type of quality. This feels really breathable and like not overwhelming on my skin. And I've tested quite a few sunscreens now with like pretty heavy white casts, which I'm not into right now, so I'm just loving that this does not have a white cast at all. Okay, so we have like a little bit of a dewy finish, but I have to say that it is pretty minimal. It is not like full-on greasy. I think it's just like that beautiful like kiss of dew on the skin. This does not feel heavy. Like this just feels like it's so light and breathable, and like I said, it's super hot today. That's why I'm choosing this sunscreen, because it's just really well performing, and I'm not noticing any type of white cast. So we've got the neck here. You can see no type of white cast. This, I've worn this with makeup. It's been absolutely fine. I've not noticed pilling, but we're gonna do that second application test and see what it does. No pilling on reapplication here. It does build up a little bit of weight on the skin when you put your second layer on, like what sunscreen doesn't, right? But because it starts off so light to begin with, I still feel like this just feels really like breathable and airy. I mean, that sun essence claim, it definitely lives up to it. There's definitely a buildup in the shine, but I'm not seeing a hint of a white cast. And I haven't noticed one in my other testing days either, my off-camera testing days, right? I haven't noticed it, but sometimes the camera picks up things my naked eye does not. So all in all, super happy, super affordable, great coverage, great filters, well-performing sunscreen. I mean, what more could you ask for? This is a real winner. Now let's try out the Pyunkang Yul 80 Mild Sun Cream. So this is a hybrid sunscreen. It is using titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, and 2 of the older generation chemical filters, homosalate and octosalate. So I was actually really surprised to see that this was a hybrid sunscreen using some of the older generation chemical filters. And the reason that I was surprised by that is because of the name Ado or Ado. Now, this is actually used in Korean skincare. You've probably seen it on other products before. And it basically is an indication that the product is suitable for sensitive skin because it's referring to the word atopic, like atopic dermatitis, which is basically irritation that sensitive skin folks can get. So that's what the word Ado means, and that is a clue that something is, it's going to be gentle on your skin. And so I guess in my mind, I just assumed that this was going to be a fully mineral sunscreen because you know how the old adage goes, they're like, oh, if you have sensitive skin, you must use mineral filters. Now that's not necessarily true. Skin is so much more nuanced than just mineral for sensitive skin, chemical for everybody else, right? Like it's not that black and white. It's not that straightforward. I'm somebody with sensitive skin that often prefers chemical filters, but as we've seen throughout the video, or we're going to see in the video, it doesn't always work out for me. But neither does mineral sunscreen either. Sometimes that bothers me too. It really comes down to formulation. It is not just about the filters alone, right? It's about how they've been formulated. It being appropriate for sensitive skin, I was not surprised to see that it does not contain artificial fragrance, no forms of denatured alcohol anywhere here, and there are no essential oils. Now I know you're probably dying to see this texture, and it is actually really interesting because while it is a mineral sunscreen, it does have kind of more of a kind of lotion cream sort of texture. So what I mean by that is a cream is going to be a lot thicker, maybe even a little bit more difficult to spread, where lotions tend to be a little bit more silky, easier to spread, and a little bit lighter. And I feel like this is kind of a mix between those two types of textures. It doesn't have that hard to spread mineral consistency that you might be used to with traditional mineral sunscreens. This does have an elegance to it, and that's kind of why I'm likening it to like a sun lotion rather than a traditional cream. So it's got great spread, as you see. It's sunk into the skin really nicely. Little bit hint of a white cast there. I am kind of like, it's hot today. I'm kind of sweating. This may not be the best sunscreen choice for today, but you know what? I will report back and let you know, wow, this will blend down. Don't be too concerned right away, but it looks scary. I know, it looks scary. So it does take a little bit more work to get this into the skin. That is kind of with a higher percentage of mineral filters, even it being hybrid, you do find yourself rubbing on your face just a little bit more, which, you know what, hey, could be a drawback for some people because always like rubbing into your skin could be even a little bit irritating. See how it's blending and settling in. So that initial application wasn't indicating how it was going to look, and this is going to continue to settle into the skin. But remember, we do have 2 mineral filters here, so definitely expect a white cast to happen. This is the final finish. So you do see there is a little bit of a dew factor to this, but it's actually not even as dewy or shiny as some of the other sunscreens in this epic review. It's pretty mild, especially for having the mineral components. I just find mineral sunscreen often has like a greasy feel or look to it. The white cast, it's definitely there. You can see it. I don't have any sunscreen on my neck so that we can see that there is a little bit more life and warmth in my skin down here, and I'm quite cool and paled out up here. You can see, that paling out effect is a little bit sickly on my skin tone, so can't avoid it. There's a white cast to this one. I've been playing around with this one a little bit earlier this week, and I have to say I find it actually very comfortable to wear. I don't feel that it dries my skin out, and I don't feel any of that irritation that I sometimes can get with the older chemical filters. I didn't get that with this one, and that's where that formulation comes into play, right? So this has been formulated nicely. I think they've really kind of balanced out the pros and the cons of all the mineral filters and all the older generation filters, and have just kind of figured out that right mix. So I think this is comfortable and nice for my sensitive skin. I would be happy to reach for this again. It's got some drawbacks, But all in all, not a bad sunscreen. Let's test the Thank You Farmer Skin Relief Sun Cream. This is a fully chemical sunscreen that is rated SPF 50 plus PA plus 4. They're using 4 new generation chemical filters for this sunscreen. So some good things to know, like all of the sunscreens, this is not rated for water resistance, and this does contain T-butyl alcohol. This is denatured alcohol. It is kind of one of those iffy ones because I don't find this to be a drying or even like an astringent type of denatured alcohol. All right, so you're dying to see the texture, right? This is always the most important part in sunscreens. So I find this to be kind of like almost like an essence-y type of cream texture. You see there's a little bit of hydration. It's a thinner layer. It's not super duper like moisturizing, thick or creamy. There's a hydration element, almost like a cream gel element to this. And it's got really great spread. Do you see how well that spread? There is a little bit of like a little bit of a sheen as it's still kind of like settling into the skin. I find that goes down after a few minutes. All right, let's see what it looks like on. So I actually have been enjoying wearing this. This has a similar kind of feel, I guess, on the skin as Mary & May, where you get that hydration factor and then a little bit of a moisturization factor, almost like an essence-y type of feel on the skin. However, this seems to wear a lot lighter on the skin than the Mary & May, and this is me getting super duper picky and kind of giving you a mini this or that. But the Mary & May does have a little bit more moisturization on the skin compared to this Thank You Farmer sunscreen. This one feels a little bit lighter. So if you're a bit more sensitive to more moisturizing sunscreens, or even like sunscreens that have a little bit more of like a shine on the skin, this might be a slightly better option for you with a similar formulation as Mary & May, and even as similar as the famous Beauty of Joseon. This is a lot lighter on the skin than the Beauty of Joseon is. So the nice thing about this sunscreen, yes, there is dew to this sunscreen, most definitely. I'm never gonna claim this is a neutral or matte finish. I do feel like this settles down though, and the sun is like really hitting my cheekbones. So there is a dew to this sunscreen. However, it does not feel like heavy or like greasy on the skin. You know, some moisturizing dewy kind of sunscreens do feel like they sit on top of your skin just a little bit, and maybe even it feels like they shift around a little bit on your skin, like they never fully settle in. That's where the superpower of this sunscreen kind of comes in, because it gives you the dewy look, but you don't have to trade off on feeling like your sunscreen's sitting in a layer on top of your skin. No white cast. I didn't expect it with the chemical filters, but really no white cast to this one at all. Really comfortable feel, great dry time. Let's do the second layer to test for pilling. I haven't experienced any with this one, but pilling is so individual though too. You know what I'm saying? It has to do with like what skincare you're wearing underneath, and it has to do with maybe what you put on top of it, like maybe with makeup products and stuff. So it's really not just like, I can't just claim this won't pill for you. I'm just saying like I haven't experienced it in my testing period. This also works really nicely underneath makeup too. And if you don't like that dew, but you are planning on wearing makeup, it does kind of neutralize it a little bit. Okay, I'm not getting any pilling. Really nice feel on the skin. Great dry time. Great sinking into the skin. Really nice formula. Really great filters. No fragrance, no sunscreen smell here. This is a real winner. I like this one a lot. All right, it's the middle of the afternoon. I am back because I really do need to reapply my sunscreen right now. It's super sunny today and it's quite warm. And I've been really liking this Tocobo Cotton Soft Sun Stick for reapplication. So I thought it'd be a great time to show you how this works. So this is rated SPF 50 plus PA plus 4. Now this is using 6 different filters, and it would technically be considered a hybrid sunscreen because we do have some titanium dioxide in here. Based on this ingredients list and based on the fact that this is a sun stick, I think that the titanium dioxide is not really offering much sun protection. It's definitely contributing, but I don't think it's like part of the core UV formula here. I think it's more part of like the core sun stick formula, if you know what I'm saying. So we do have a little bit of titanium dioxide. Otherwise, the other 5 filters are chemical filters. And it's a mix between the older generation and the newer generation filters. But I honestly find sun sticks to be really convenient for reapplication, especially on the go. I made sure to have a sun stick with me when I was traveling earlier this summer because it's just so much easier to just swipe your face, not have to worry about finding a sink, washing your hands. You know, it can just be sort of inconvenient, where a stick makes things a lot easier. And especially if you need to like reapply it like on the tops of your hands, if you're doing lots of driving and stuff, definitely nice to have something like this on hand. Some other things you need to know about this sunscreen: there is a little bit of fragrance. I actually kind of like this smell. Unlike the Tocobo sun cream that we tried in the last video, this actually has like a really pleasant, I call it like a cotton fruity smell. I know it says cotton in the name, but you know how sometimes there's like candles or fragrances that say that they're like fresh cotton or fresh linen? It's kind of like that very subtle, warm, clean scent, but then there's like a hint of fruitiness to it too, like a berry fruitiness that I actually think is really pleasant. The fragrance in this one is not bothering me all that much, but it's important to know. Artificial fragrance here, but no essential oils and no drying forms of alcohol. So the thing about sun sticks, not just this one, but like any sun stick that you use, you want to make sure that you're applying it properly, because sun sticks do form like a really nice protective film on the skin because they almost have like a waxy kind of element to them. So they do offer superior protection. And while this isn't rated for water resistance, you guessed it, it does tend to have a better stay put kind of quality on the skin than a lotion or a cream does. But as I said, you want to make sure that you're applying this properly. So, you know, you want to do more than one pass on the skin. This texture is a little bit different that we're testing out here. So I'd say going over the same area 2 to 3 times is really important, because it's really easy to sort of like miss areas if you're just doing a one pass over. There's, you know, those little areas in between you might miss. So I want to just kind of demonstrate that, like go over the same area 2 to 3 times. But do you see how there's like a very minimal dew to this? It's actually not a very greasy sun stick, and it dries like almost instantly on the skin. Like it settles in, because again, it's kind of more of a different type of film forming element. It's almost like a wax, but there's like a dry finish feel to it. It's actually really pleasant. I think that's where they're coming up with the cotton in the name. I think it's because it's got this almost like dry touch feel to it at the surface that I find really pleasant. Okay, let's try this one out. I love reapplying with sun sticks. It's just so convenient. And I'm really like shocked at myself for even saying I enjoy this fragrance, but like I kind of enjoy this fragrance. And then I'm gonna go over my eyeballs. Never forget those. These are super nice for your eyes too, because I find that like if you are sweating, the more waxy type of formula, like I said, stays put. So you're not going to get it like running into your eyes as much as a cream or a lotion would. So super helpful on hot, sweaty days like today. So I'm just going to do a second pass just to make sure I didn't miss any areas. And one thing that you might want to do too, especially if you do a second pass, and I've got like, definitely I know I missed areas like around my nose, because this like super flat stick is not going to get into those little crevices. So what you might want to do, if you do have clean hands, right, is just kind of like rub in a little bit just to make sure you get coverage on any little streaky areas or areas you just didn't get as much coverage in. It can be helpful. You don't have to do this. Like I said, if you're on the go, if you have dirty hands, and this is the only way to reapply sunscreen, you know, you don't have to do this part. You're still getting good coverage, but you might just want to help it spread a little bit more if you do have the convenience of clean and dry hands. So it added a minimal amount of dew to my face. I do have a little bit of oil going on today. I'm feeling a little clammy. I'm feeling a little warm, so I'm a little sweaty. And I do have a layer of sunscreen on from this morning. So even though it's like 2-3 extra layers of sunscreen plus grease, look at. I mean, like, I don't look like a grease ball. I don't look like a disco ball. Like, I look okay. I look acceptable. And you can also powder down if you don't like it, but I honestly think it's a fairly good, almost dry type of finish to the sunscreen. It's not heavy. I know I keep saying wax, but like, that's just more of like how it's the consistency is, but that's not actually how it translates to the weight on your skin. This is very comfy, and I think that's why I've been going towards this for reapplication a lot, is because sometimes when you put that second or third layer of like cream or lotion on, it gets greasy feeling, it gets heavy feeling, your skin just feels weighed down. This just doesn't have that quality to it. There's just something really special about how they formulated this to feel comfy on the skin. Next, let's try out the Jumiso Super Soothing Cica and Aloe Sunscreen. This is rated SPF 50 PA++. So this is a fully mineral sunscreen using zinc and titanium dioxide. Now, because it is a fully mineral sunscreen, I really am expecting to see a white cast. We'll see in a second. But with a fully mineral sunscreen, that's probably what you can expect. Now, other good things to know about this, it is free of artificial fragrance, essential oils, and there's no denatured alcohol. So this would be a traditional cream type of texture sunscreen. Honestly, with the mineral filters, I do find it hard to get more of that the gel cream hydrating consistency. So this is a little bit more traditional of a cream. It does have a nice spread, but it is mineral. So we're gonna sit here and work it in for a really long time. I do find mineral sunscreens do tend to take a little bit of time to settle into the skin, although they do seem to stick around. Once they're dry, the drying process does actually tend to take a little bit of time. I am feeling a little bit of moisturization. Maybe you might even call it a slightly greasy feel to this sunscreen. It's not super heavy, but it's definitely there. I don't know that I can rub this in anymore. That's a terrible white cast. I did apply a little bit too much, but I always err on the side of applying a little bit too much. And so I'm not so sure this might be something that settles in after, like I said, after it really absorbs into the skin. So let's try it on my face and see where it gets us. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm not feeling very confident right now, but you know, you never know. We'll see. So yeah, I'm definitely noticing that while this is easy to spread, it is going to take a little bit more elbow grease to get into the skin. And you know, really that is just one of those drawbacks with mineral sunscreens. You definitely will find yourself really working it into your skin. And especially if you do have like a little bit more tan, a little bit more color in your skin, you will notice that there will be streaks with mineral sunscreen too. So you really do want to work it into your skin. It's just one of the drawbacks. This is not promising. Yeah, see, I hate that. That's why you really, and then it's up here too. What a mess. And I do notice a little bit of a grease kind of quality to it, almost like an oil type of feel. It doesn't feel like super heavy on my skin. I would say this is kind of medium weight. I definitely feel it, but it's not overwhelming my skin. It's quite hot today too. So luckily it's not like suffocating me. A little bit of a dew to the finish, but again, let's let it dry and see what the true finish is going to look like. Okay, so I'm back and the white cast is settled a little bit, but I honestly still kind of find this unacceptable for my skin, because look at how silly how silly this looks on me. And if you get up nice and close, I mean, look at how awful that looked, like the streakiness. You see, that's like just like sticking into my eyelids. I actually don't have that much skincare on underneath this either. Like I don't have any oil or anything. So I don't know why this isn't fully like setting into my skin. Like it's kind of just sitting on top of it a little bit. This is hard to wash off. I had a hard time getting it off my hand. This is hard to wash off. It does cling to the skin really nicely. So there is a little bit of a natural resistance with a little bit of sweat. I'm going to stand by that. However, this is still going to be like that type of finish that's just going to always shift a little bit on you. And I think that has to do with kind of the emolliency of the formula. But the way that it's like kind of getting caked up in the fine line. That's not even a fine line. That's just my eye. I'm actually not gonna like go forward with this sunscreen, honestly, because I just can't even stand like how this looks. Like I have to go places today. I have to see people. this is like not going to work out for me. So, I can't really say anything positive about this one. I really don't like it. Oh, that concludes a really epic testing period of a lot of new sunscreens. Some worked out amazingly, others kind of missed the mark. So if you want to see any of the other sunscreens that I reviewed in the part 1 video, I'm going to tell you to head over there right now. I love you guys so much. I hope you are healthy, happy, and safe, and I'll see you in the next video.